today we've got the Riffmaster StrumFix mod. What that is replacing the entire strum bar mechanism with one that uses mechanical keyboard switches. First, we gotta take apart the guitar, removing all the screws. So there's 4 in the front, and then 4 in the neck. Make sure that you don't lose these, and they're different sizes, so keep that in mind. And then there, I think, is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 on the back. So we gotta get all those apart. Those are all the same size, so you don't really need to worry about if they go in the right hole or not. So now let's take off the back. So here is the mess. Make sure to unplug the power before you do any work on your guitar, because you don't want to short the guitar or shock yourself. Now that you've disconnected your battery, we can now work on unscrewing the reed switches and cutting the cables for them. We're going to be using these cables later. You'll want to make sure to cut as close as you can to the PCB for the reed switch. Also, don't do what I did here. Leave the reed switches unscrewed and just leave them out of the guitar. We'll come back to it later. Alright, so now we need to unscrew the strum mechanism. I've circled every single screw that you need to remove. There will be one that is attached to a spring, and you can remove that spring entirely, but hold on to it because we're going to need it later. Do note that the silver screws on the left side are smaller, similar to the size of the reed switch screws. You may need a smaller screwdriver for this. The best thing to do right now is pause and unscrew them, or follow along with me. I do have my unscrewing process sped up, so it will be much faster, but you can just pause and keep up. You'll see a black ribbon cable that's attached to the motherboard. Disconnect it from the motherboard now. It'll be easier to do it now so that you can move it around to remove screws easier. Make sure to be careful around any of the ribbon cables. They're quite sensitive, so you could pierce them pretty easily with your screwdriver. Your StrumFix adapter for the Riffmaster will come with 2 cylindrical pieces. I've circled where you need to put them on these 2 little screw posts. Now it's time to install the StrumFix. So whenever you're screwing it in, you want to make sure that the screw terminals are on the side that's closer to the battery. That spring I mentioned earlier now needs to be screwed into the StrumFix adapter. Screwing this in was a little bit difficult for me, but your mileage may vary. With the spring now attached to the adapter piece, we can lay it down on top where the 2 screw posts are. It can really only go in one way. After that, we need the smaller piece of the adapter. It should also go on one way. We're going to use the 2 silver screws that we had previously removed from this section and screw them in. Now we can screw in the main adapter piece. You're going to have to finagle a little bit due to the ribbon cable, but it shouldn't be too hard. After you've done that, you can reconnect the spring to the little dangly bit that you had removed it from earlier. Oh, and make sure to reconnect the ribbon cable to the motherboard. So you'll see here that I reconnect the reed switches. I'm doing this because I don't want to store it, and they can go back in without causing any issue. Now we need to strip the ends of the cables that were connected to the reed switches previously. These will go into the screw terminals on the StrumFix module. I would expose only about 4 or 5 millimeters of metal. You really don't need much. I do a little bit more sometimes, but just so long as you have enough to get into the terminal and have it screwed down, that's fine. Now you'll insert the 2 wires into either terminal and screw it down. Since it's just an on-off switch, it doesn't matter which side goes into which terminal. Just make sure that whenever you tug on the terminal, the wire doesn't come out. we're basically done with the installation. All that's left to do is plug in the battery and test. Make sure to plug in your dongle and actually turn on the guitar. I forgot to turn mine on the first time and got really confused. But as you can see in the footage, the strum bar works. I even flipped it over to show y'all, and my strap peg fell out, so I have to go reinstall that whenever we're closing up. That being said, with everything working, we turn off the guitar and we close up shop. Make sure that there's nothing sticking out, cable manage, nothing's looking out of place. Then we screw in the 8 screws in the back. Then the 4 in the neck, and then the 4 in the front. Once you've double checked that you've screwed all of them in, you can put the faceplate back on, and we're now done with the installation. Do keep in mind that the StrumFix lights will still turn on if the guitar is off because it's battery powered. You can actually wire it to the battery, but I'm not going to bother. And that is the installation of the StrumFix for the Riffmaster. Whenever you buy your StrumFix, make sure that you buy the adapter because it's separate. It's an extra $5, but it's necessary to have for the Riffmaster. Regular Rock Band guitars don't need it. After you're done with the installation, you'll have a few parts left over. You'll have the main strum bar, the piece that the spring used to be attached to, a different spring, and 2 screws. In the case that the StrumFix ever fails, it's good to hold on to these parts so that you can revert back to OEM if you ever need to. And that's it. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions about the mod itself, or any issues, or need help, feel free to join my Discord server and send me a message. Y'all have a good one.